this thing, and I actually didn't know this was the real microphone that was going to be used. I thought it was just clever illustrator. It's really awkward now that I'm in front of it, because it looks like something Elvis Presley would have been in front of. And I am neither nowhere near as tall as Elvis or the gentleman who was formerly singing, nor as talented. Can I move down? I don't want to actually break things, because I have a history of breaking things.
Oh, you're lucky.
Ah, shit! That's just my luck. What am I doing? Oh, I'm bald. Oh, God, I am bald. It's actually, no, I'm bald by choice. Trust me, this is by choice. I mean, it really came about with Mother Nature wanted to do this gradually, but I said, no, if we're going to do this, we're cutting to the chase. So I just took a razor to it. Being bald is awkward, though, because I look slightly... Being bald and being a white guy is weird, because I look slightly racist if you saw me from afar. I'm covered in tattoos, and I'm really normally naturally pale and bald, and I came from, I grew up in Wisconsin, and there's a lot of German people there. My last name's German, so I just look really, really awkwardly racist. I'm not racist. But being a white guy, you worry about it sometimes. You can't say a lot of things. You can't say a lot of things about a lot of things if you're, white, straight, and white, and male. Women can get away with more. It's true, and I believe in an egalitarian society. I mean, I kind of have to. My mom and her wife, they would kill me if I didn't. My mom and her wife. Marriage is gay. It is. It's inherently gay nowadays. I have not heard anyone talk about wanting to get married more than gay people. I mean, one of my straight friends, but I'm more than certain he's in the closet. It just seems to work out better for marriage to be gay. I don't understand why anyone would want to get married right now anyway. My best friend from high school is married. He got married at 19. His wife was 19. He was 20. I was 19. I was the best man. I was the worst best man. Because I spent the entire time they were engaged, most specifically the last 24 hours before the wedding, asking him the same question almost hourly. You're 20, are you sure you want to do this? This could be the biggest mistake of your life. Like, do you really, why? It's marriage. This sounds awful. And he's like, no, I love her. And I'm like, oh, cool, let's just say this was me testing you to see if you really wanted to go through with it. And not that I'm a dick and I don't believe in marriage. So he got married, and it's 9 years later. Yeah! They got out of the Navy. Like, they lived in Hawaii for 6 years. 6 years in Hawaii right after they got married. Hooray, extended honeymoon. Came back home. She got pregnant, He got a nuclear technician job. He makes $47 an hour. I'm living off my GI Bill going to college. I am poor. My stomach is filled with Coke Zero, and my pockets are filled with dreams. And by dreams, I mean absolutely nothing physical. Legitimately, I could pull them out right now. They look really nice. These look like really nice pants. They're from Walmart. I make no bones. I know how to dress myself. I know how to dress myself very cheaply. It's like cheap. But marriage. He's 9 years they've been married. He's got a kid. He's got a wife. He's got 2 dogs. He's got 2 cars. And he's got a house. He's got a job where he makes more than enough to pay for all of it. And he's miserable. No. He might be miserable, but I have learned from this. I would never want to get married. Marriage is kind of backwards. You spend all this time in your life getting one girl to let her boobs and her vagina just be yours. They're all yours. You don't have to share it with anybody else anymore. So she gets pregnant, and then for 9 months you have to share her vagina. And then after that you have to share her boobs. Why would you do this to yourself? No! This is backwards! I spent all this time and money just to do this! No! I don't want that. Which is probably why I'll never get married. It's not because no woman would ever love me. Oh, that's depressing. I say that facetiously, because plenty of women will love me until they, get to know me. And after that, not so much. Because I will always love this stupid hobby I have, which I call a career, but let's face it, I don't get paid enough for it to be a real career. And if you put something before a woman, they don't ever really like that. They don't ever really like that. You could be the most emo, emotional guy in the world and be a sap like me. Because I was raised by nothing but women, and that really balances your gender roles out. Gender roles. Ugh. I'm a grown man who loves My Little Pony and Sailor Moon. Has anime tattoos. And looks really good in heels, which is awkward because being a guy who can wear heels better than half the women you know can get you really awkward stares, but mostly from the elderly. I feel really bad saying the elderly because one day I'm going to be old, which is cool. I already got a head start. I'm already bald, which once again makes me look racist, which gives me the problem with the elderly. There's a lot of people like my grandparents. My grandparents aren't racist. They're just completely ignorant to how society views certain words and contexts because they grew up completely different. It's weird because my grandparents will say horrible things that sound racist, but they're not racist. I know they're not racist because they actually marched for equal rights. Which puts me in a really odd position because I've had this example my whole life, so if I ever hear like a white person say something that seems derogatory, I always naturally assume they're racist. Then I realize that anyone who's ever heard my grandfather speak naturally assumes that he's racist. And like me, he's bald and he's white and he's German and Irish. So he kind of already has a leg up there. Not to say that my grandfather isn't a tad bit homophobic, he's Catholic. I don't want to make excuses for him because he's an awful person. He really is. It's not that he's like a racist or homophobe that makes him an awful person. It's that he's an awful alcoholic. Yeah, that's what makes him an awful person. He's just terrible. I love him. I can't help but love him because he's my grandfather. But if I met him on the street one day, I, would hope he'd get accosted by somebody. I have no idea where I'm going with this. There's a microphone in my hand, and it actually doesn't have a handle. So I'm really weirded out because I expected a mic like that, which is awkward because then I'd just be grabbing something and having my mouth really near it, and that'd be really phallic. I'm kind of comfortable with this because it's not phallic. What does that say about me? I'm worried about having something shaped like a dick in my face. I guess that's why I've never really broken any laws. Although I spent a lot of time in the military. I spent 8 years in the United States Army, which, by the way, that's pretty gay too. Because it's a lot of showering with dudes, sharing rooms with dudes. You get really close to dudes. Scrub each other's back in the shower, make odd comments about how they look in their uniform. Wait, crap, my bunkmate might have been gay. I did get into the military when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was still in practice. God, he might have been gay. I wonder if he came out. That's awkward. We used to play weird games, though. Like, I spent a year in Iraq, and a year in Afghanistan, but a year in Iraq, which is awful, because everyone complains about the heat here. It's not that hot. It's really not that hot. 151 was the highest heat index it got in Taji, Iraq, when I was there in 2006. And everyone's like, yeah, but it's a dry heat. Yes, so is fire. They feel equally as bad. And I'm Irish. Sunlight and I don't mix. This is days worth of being in sun covered in SPF 80. Thinking to yourself, you're like, do they make SPF 80? They make SPF 80. I'm that pale. But we used to play really weird games like the shotgun game. Does anyone know what the shotgun game is? Everyone here has had a car full of people and like you're coming back from a restaurant, you all wanted to go and, everyone wants to call shotgun, right? And the first person to get shotgun normally gets it. But in Iraq, when there's a Humvee, the back seat is really cramped. They're really awful seats. No one wants to do it. So we found a way to challenge it. And being that we're all ridiculous, 20, 21, and 18, 19-year-old kids, we found the dumbest way possible to challenge it. If someone calls shotgun, you can challenge this by dropping your pants to your ankles. Now you're in your boxers or your briefs, whatever you wear. Pray to God you're wearing something, because then it's exposed to the Iraq sun, and nobody wants that there. So, you can drop your pants to your ankles. So now you're just a grown man in a full uniform, desert camouflage, with your pants around your ankles, and a gun strapped to your back, and you're just looking at your friend. Like, am I going to get shotgun? Well, they can accept the challenge. They can either let you have shotgun and you can walk pantsless to the car, or they can accept your challenge. You accept your challenge by you two dropping your pants to your ankles. Now you're two grown men looking at each other with your pants around your ankles. Then it's a dead-on sprint with your pants around your ankles to see who can touch the passenger side door first. Imagine two grown men in army uniforms, pants around their ankles, boxers. Mine are usually red. I wasn't bald then either, so just for the end of the picture. Running as fast as they can with their pants around their ankles, which is like running like a penguin, actually. Because if you've ever seen a penguin in a natural video run to dive into water, this is exactly what you'll see. Because you can't get a full leg movement when you only have a foot of material between your legs. One of these said times, our first sergeant was there, and we didn't see him at first. But he saw me. And doing push-ups with your pants around your ankles in 107-degree weather is awesome. I've never been so gritty in my life. I don't know where I was going with that. Don't go to Iraq. Look, I know everyone tells you to go see the world. I've seen a lot of it. Don't go to Iraq. It's not fun. Also, don't go to Arizona. Actually, if there's more sunlight than there is plants, don't go there, ever. Ever. Because that's nothing you want to be exposed to. I get the Irish. Oh, it's rainy, but everything's green. Green's pretty. Sand is not. I don't care what you say. Sand is not pretty. I don't care if it's that dyed sand you put in glass bottles. It's not pretty. Not pretty. Don't care. It's just salt. It's salt and minerals and no one cares. And one day you'll be that. You'll be that. You'll be what's in that bottle might be filled with dead people. Just think about that next time you're ever outside and the truck kicks up dirt and you end up getting it in your mouth. You go, dirt. No. Dead. Dead. Death is in your mouth. That's a terrible thought. But we eat animals, so it's alright. I'm not a vegetarian, mind you. I love steak. It's delicious. Every time I eat it, I know I'm gonna die. It's like, this is great! My heart hates me! That's how I'm gonna die one day, a heart attack. Just like my grandfather. Not the racist, horrible one. He's not racist, he's homophobic. No, the racist one died of a heart attack. So, right. It's really awkward that old people... Ugh. Okay, I'll leave with one last story. Because... Did anyone vote in 2012? Like, legitimately, did you vote?
Yeah. Sure.
Awesome! You should totally vote. Unless Chicago votes, and then none of your votes matter because we're in the same voting district, and Chicago's going to vote decidedly liberal. Not that I'm against that. I voted for the same person Chicago did. But I lived in Cherry Valley at the time, so I had to go downtown in Cherry Valley to vote by where their post office is down there. Has anyone ever been to actual Cherry Valley? It's really quaint, and it's really nice, and you're like, oh, this is a great place to raise kids. Then I was in the line to vote. And in front of me was this sweet old lady. She was sweet. She was the nicest woman. She's like, oh, how are you today? And I'm like, I'm great, ma'am. Just, gonna vote. She's like, oh, that's nice, doing your civic duty. I hate to sound condescending if I make this voice and anyone is offended by it, but this is legitimately how she sounded in my head. My perception might have been off. And she's like, oh, who are you gonna vote for? Now, I believe in the process, and you're not actually supposed to talk about who you're supposed to vote for. So that's what I told her. I was like, oh, it's, you really shouldn't talk about it beside a polling place and blah, blah, blah. And she went from the nicest person I'd ever seen to, oh, you're one of those Obama supporters. Holy crap! I didn't see that coming. And now I'm trying to, not tell her that I'm voting for Obama, but trying not to hide that I'm kind of offended. But she just started, Obama's ruining the country and blah, 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 blah. God, it got scary. I don't know, like I said, on my perception of what she sounded like, but the second people start speaking nonsense filled with hate and no logic, I just start hearing roaring, which is probably why I can't watch the Republican National Convention. And this is where I get really defensive. I don't like being attacked. I don't know why. Maybe it's a childhood of verbal abuse that I got. But I also don't have any filter a lot of times. So when this very, very old woman, much older than anyone here, said all of these hate-filled things to me and how my generation was throwing America down the drain, I stopped and I looked at her and I went, "Why aren't you dead yet?" Seriously, how are you not in the grave? I guess the lesson here is hate will sustain you far beyond drugs and Keith Richards. Thank you for mildly laughing at my horrible jokes.